Hey everyone, this is Drew Meekins, and I'm going to review the videos from week 3. So I'm going to go in order of the way the videos were submitted to me. So the first one up for review is Karen. I really loved this piece of music. I actually downloaded it right afterward. I thought it was really interesting. So I really thought that was a good choice. I thought, the main critique I had with this piece was the ice coverage and the spatial sort of component of things. I thought you used space decently well on the body, but as far as the space that you were in, the ice coverage, I was interested in seeing more and seeing what it would look like if you really broke out of that kind of center circle idea. I did think it was well done though, and I thought there was a clear form to it and a clear emotional quality. And I thought your movements were creative. The way you used the prop was interesting to me. So I had you at 10 stars. Next, I'm going to go on to Maddie. This piece was so fun and so quirky, and I really enjoyed it. I did like how you had some work with the camera. You utilized the camera to kind of create some of the feeling of the movement. And I liked how you covered space, starting kind of in the center and then skating a little bit bigger. I did like seeing some movements together, which I think, for me, like if you are doing, something that isn't a solo, I like to see movements that are both done, simultaneously, in unison, out of unison, and also together as sort of one unit. And so I liked seeing that. I thought, I definitely got this lightness and this quirkiness, but I had questions about the prop and why the prop, other than the fact that it was fun and quirky. And so I'm not saying that is necessarily a critique, but it was something that I was sort of like left wanting a bit more of. So I had you overall at 10.5 stars. Okay, so next up is Kata. I was really interested in this concept. I liked your the little verbal or rather written part at the beginning. I thought it gave it some interesting context to why the prop, which was a thing for me in this challenge, was really wanting to know why this prop, what's the significance of it, and are you using it intentionally? I did think you did that well. For me, I felt like this choreography and this movement, it while some of it was creative, and a lot of it was creative, and it was interesting, I questioned whether or not you were utilizing your sort of skating language and your skating toolbox as much as you could have. A lot of the movement was on 2 feet, and although it's perfectly fine to make the choice to not use like listed skating turns and steps, I did sort of have some interest in seeing more of that utilized. So for me, I was wanting to see more skating language in this, and also more 1-foot movements, more gliding, stuff like that. So overall, I had you at 8 stars. So okay, next we'll go to Jacqueline. This was very moving, I think, from the beginning. Just kind of reading what you wrote and understanding the heaviness and seriousness of the theme. I thought that was a bold choice, and one that I thought paid off in the sense that it was moving, and the emotion was clear to me throughout the piece. I really felt that there was a significance to what you were trying to portray, and that you did that really well. I did long for ice coverage. I did long for some diversity within the kinds, again, like I said previously, the kinds of skating language that you were using and choosing to use, but I did think that what you did was really well done. And so overall, I had you at 11 stars. So next we'll go to Sonia. This piece was also just so quirky and weird and funny. I was sort of just looking at it and going like, I've never really seen skating done this way. I thought, you kept that theme, which is it's really hard to do, right? It's hard, I think. It's one of the hardest things, in my opinion, to do this super quirky, tongue-in-cheek, kind of movement. The delivery just has to be so spot on. And I think your choreography was delivered that way. I think your performers did a pretty good job of that. I also, with this one, felt, again, patterns, right? The skating, very linear movements, very back and forth. It looked sort of more like it would be well suited for like a traditional kind of stage setting, with that kind of upstage, downstage aspect that it had to it. And again, totally fine, but for me personally, I'm always interested in seeing like how can you take that and marry it more with what we know as skating, what we really know as some of this language of skating. I did think, as far as execution, there were moments where I thought things were supposed to sync up and they didn't quite. And I think that takes away from sort of like the sharpness, and the, sort of precision of what you're really trying to accomplish. So overall, I had you at 9 stars. Okay, and so finally we have Ola. I really liked this piece a lot. You also kind of did some interesting work with the camera and how, there were people coming from off stage, so to speak, and it felt very surprising, very captivating when it happened. I kind of was like, ooh, what's going on now? I really thought the way you used the prop was the most intentional out of the bunch today. I thought it was very integral to the story and the choreography. I will say, like, as a prop, a lot of people used like sheets and pieces of fabric and stuff like that. And, I think just overall, I would have been a little more curious to see some things used and really, some really unconventional things used. I really appreciated the paddle and ball and the sword because of that. But I will say the people who chose these fabric things, they're easier to involve in the choreography. So there's a bit of a trade-off, right? There's a risk and reward kind of thing. But long story short, I thought you used it really well. I loved how your performers covered the ice. I thought there was good diversity between solo movement, between duets, between even some trio stuff. And it was interesting to see this sort of arc of this story of, certain characters and other characters, then back to certain characters. I thought it was really well done. So overall, I had you at 12.5 stars. All right, that's it for this week. Good job, everyone.